When Liao Shuang was brought back to the Shun residence, he was only 12 years old. Everyone knew that the eldest young master of the Shin family, Shin Xiozha, liked men. To carry on the family line, he brought back a boy from the United States as his successor. Needless to say, Liao Shuang looked a lot like Shin Xiozha. Perhaps that was why Shin Xiozha chose him. This was something Liao Shuang only understood when he grew up. He was originally an orphan in an American welfare home. Due to his withdrawn and unsociable personality, he was ostracized by the children. When everyone was bullying him, Shin Xiuhe and Shin Xiozha appeared and drove away all the children. At that time, Liao Shuang was wearing shabby and even washed-out old clothes, with mud remaining on his face from a fall. Only his pair of ethereal and clear big eyes were particularly captivating. Shin Xiuhe helped him up, dusted off all the dirt on him, and didn't even mind the smell of slops on him. He cared for him in a soft voice. Liao Shuang nodded ignorantly. This was the first time someone had lent him a helping hand. The moment Shin Xiuhe led him to the pool to wash his face clean, Shin Xiozha exclaimed, "Damn it, they look so alike." Liao Shuang, with his face washed clean, stood beside Shin Xiozha. The two were exactly the same. Even the ruffian air at the corners of their eyebrows was somewhat similar. Perhaps because Liao Shuang hadn't fully grown up, there was no ruthlessness on his face like Shan Xiozha's, only the delicacy and liveliness that belonged to a teenager. In the United States, Shin Xiuhe simply used a bit of money to smooth out everything. 3 hours later, they successfully took Liao Shuang onto a private plane. On the plane, Shin Xiozha couldn't believe it and always turned his head to look at Liao Shuang. Damn it, they are exactly the same. If I didn't know that I only like men, I would have suspected that this was my child born from one of my lovers. What do you think, Xiuhe? The man called Xiuhe had his hand on Liao Shuang's shoulder. Seeming to notice the vigilance and caution in his eyes, Shin Xiuhe said softly, "Don't be afraid. We're not bad people. We're taking you home." Liao Shuang looked at the man in front of him, who was completely different from Shin Xiozha. His eyebrows were curved, his face was full of gentleness, and his every gesture made Liao Shuang feel at ease, just like an orchid in a secluded valley. Shin Xiozha was sitting with his legs crossed carelessly, with 2 buttons of his shirt undone on his chest. His eyebrows and eyes were full of carelessness. When smoking, he blew out smoke rings and even winked at Liao Shuang. "From now on, you'll follow him." His finger pointed at Shin Xiuhe. Shin Xiuhe looked puzzled. "Shin Xiozha, strictly speaking, you are his guardian now?" "Xiuhe, don't be so stingy. You know that I'm just doing this to reassure the old man. I love to play so much. How could he be suitable to be with me? I can't let him go to bars with me. Taking care of children, you're better at it." Shin Xiozha wasn't exaggerating. Everything he said was true. Shin Xiozha had come out to his family for a long time. This time, he even brought back a foreign and charming young man, insisting on getting married in the United States. The old man knew that he couldn't change Shan Xiozha's mind, so he made a request: surrogacy. The implication was to have a child of Shan Xiozha as the successor. Shin Xiozha knew that finding someone to prepare for pregnancy in the United States would take a long time. He didn't have so much time to waste. Besides, his sweetheart didn't want a child as a restraint either. So he just did it perfunctorily and randomly found a boy who looked 7 points like him as his stepson. Shin Xiozha loved to play. This was no secret among the young masters in the Shanghai circle. Shin Xiozha started going to nightclubs and chasing men at the age of 14. He liked young, good-looking, and skilled men, and the places for having sex were everywhere. So it was definitely not a good choice to let Liao Shuang be with him. Shin Xiuhe could only nod. "I hope you can also fulfill a little bit of your fatherly responsibility." Shin Xiozha had a playful smile on the corner of his mouth and didn't answer. His slender fingers pressed on the screen of his mobile phone, zooming in and out. On the screen was the naked upper body of a man, with fair skin, exquisite collarbones, and neatly arranged abdominal muscles, which was very attractive. Liao Shuang was looking at the mobile phone screen. Before he could take a closer look, Shin Xiuhe noticed and immediately covered his eyes, whispering, "Don't look." His breath sprayed on Liao Shuang's ear. Liao Shuang's ear tip turned red instantly, and his heart beat faster. What a big hand. So warm. Shin Xiao's hand was pressed against Liao Shuang's delicate face. Liao Shuang thought secretly. Shin Xiao kicked Shin Xiao's seat. Could you be more careful? There's a child here. Shin Xiaojia originally wanted to say something. How could this be a child? They're all grown up. Don't they have to see the world sooner or later? However, he had something to ask of Shin Xiaohe. When he saw Shin Xiaohe staring at him seriously, he could only obediently put away his mobile phone and said fiercely, Xiaohe, in the future, you'd better not let me find you with any boy. Otherwise, I'll, hum. Shin Xiaohe still wanted to say something, but Shin Xiaojia simply pretended to be dead and didn't speak. Shin Xiaohe let go of his hand, held Liao Shuang, and his tone became softer. Liao Shuang, can I call you Xiao Shuang? Liao Shuang nodded. He was very willing for this man to be close to him. Since he could remember, he had been with the children in the welfare home. The only person taking care of them was an old nurse with gray hair, but she treated everyone impartially. Therefore, he rarely experienced this feeling of someone caring, especially since this man also helped him and was even about to raise him. He was very grateful to this man named Shin Xiaohe. He recited his name over and over in his heart. Shin Xiaohe. It sounded nice. Shin Xiaohe stroked his head and extended his hand to him. Xiao Shuang is so obedient. From now on, I'll be your uncle. Let's live together, okay? Okay. Liao Shuang slowly placed his hand in Shin Xiaohe's hand. This hand was indeed as warm and powerful as he had imagined. Along the way, Shin Xiaojia never said anything to him. He was looking at his mobile phone the whole time. In contrast, Shin Xiaohe always chatted with him and learned about his every bit. When they arrived at the Shen residence, everyone shouted at Shin Xiaojia and Shin Xiaohe together. Master! Shin Xiaojia put his hands in his pockets and didn't say a word the whole time. He pulled Liao Shuang from Shin Xiaohe and carried him towards the inner residence, shouting as he walked, Old man, I've brought the person back to you. He didn't care about the speculative glances of the servants. Shin Jiawei came out of the inner room, leaning on a crutch. His hair was white, and the wrinkles on his face faintly hinted at his eventful past. Now, he seemed to be nearly 70 years old. His crutch struck the floor forcefully, good for nothing. Shin Xiaojia waved his hand. I said, Dad, you should be content. I've brought the person back to you. Shin Jiawei snorted coldly. What I want is your child, your child. Shin Xiaojia said, This is my child. Look how much we resemble each other. Shin Jiawei was shaking with anger. Where did you get such a big child? I'm not senile yet. You, get out of here. Shin Xiaojia was more than willing. I'm leaving first. Like greased lightning, he strode out quickly. Shin Xiaohe just wanted to pull his clothing, but Shin Xiaojia slightly turned sideways. Brother, I entrust this son of mine to you. Shin Xiaohe didn't speak. Although he was so stern towards Shin Xiaojia just now, Shin Jiawei was relatively kind to Liao Shuang. What's your name? Liao Shuang met Shin Jiawei's gaze, neither avoiding nor flinching. Liao Shuang. Shin Jiawei didn't ask anymore. Just Shin Xiaojia alone had already been a big headache for him. Now he brought back a child. Although this child seemed quite pleasing, he didn't have the time and energy to take care of a child. Shin Jiawei tentatively said, Xiaohe, could you? Do you think you can take care of this child? I'm old and afraid I can't raise him. Shin Xiaohe didn't refuse. Well, it was agreed with Xiaojia on the plane just now. Shin Jiawei sighed. Hey, if Xiaojia were half as sensible as you, I wouldn't have aged like this. Shin Xiaohe pulled Liao Shuang. Well, Dad, you rest first. We're leaving. Shin Jiawei didn't say anything, just waved his hand. From then on, Liao Shuang was recognized as the young master of the Shin family. Shin Xiaojia loved feasting, drinking, having fun, and living a luxurious life. So he didn't care about the family business at all and left everything to Shin Xiaohe. In normal families with twins, there would be disputes over inheritance among brothers, but this didn't exist in the Shin family. Shin Xiaojia was very satisfied to have a capable younger brother. Having someone to support him, he couldn't ask for more. Shin Xiaohe flew all over the place every day, negotiating business deals. Since Liao Shuang was brought to Shin Xiaohe's home, different teachers came to teach him skills every day, such as free combat, painting, shooting, Liao Shuang was very talented and learned things quickly. Even the school courses were mastered quickly. He was outstanding and skipped grades consecutively. Of course, all this was accomplished by Lin Ku, the assistant assigned to Liao Shuang by Xin Xiuhe. Xin Xiuhe didn't know much about it. Xin Xiuhe was often not at home. Liao Shuang's 3 meals a day were prepared by servants. He liked to discuss cooking or other household chores with the servants. Coupled with his good looks and politeness, everyone in the Shun family liked him. On the New Year's Day, Shun Xiuhe came home. He parked the car and saw the warm light on in the house. His heart felt comforted. Because their mother passed away on the eve of the Spring Festival, Shun Jiue didn't like festivals. So they each stayed in their own homes during the New Year. In the past, during the New Year, he would just eat some frozen food at home or order takeout. The moment he turned the key, there was a person standing at the door. He almost knocked the person down. Looking clearly, it was Liao Shuang. After not seeing each other for a long time, the heroic spirit between his eyebrows was more obvious, and his height had also changed a lot. Wearing a beige sweater and white pants, and with a pink apron from home around his neck. Although it was a bit strange, it strangely fit well. "Uncle, you're back?" "Well, I'm back for a visit." Smelling the aroma of the food, Xin Xiuhe was somewhat shocked. Did Aunt Zhang and the others not go home? In the past, during every holiday, Xin Xiuhe would always let his servants reunite with their families and wouldn't keep them at home. Liao Shuang quickly placed the slippers for him. "Oh, they all went home for the new year. This meal was cooked by me." Xin Xiuhe was a little shocked. "You cooked? Can you cook?" Liao Shuang stood aside and said softly, "I learned from Aunt Zhang." Xin Xiuhe was surprised and also very happy. It seemed that the child he brought back was growing up well. "Good, Xiao Shuang. Then I must taste it." Liao Shuang set the tableware, filled a bowl of thick egg drop soup for Xin Xiuhe, and added a lot of dishes. There were many dishes on the table. All without exception were Shan Xiuhe's favorites, and the taste was exactly the same. Xin Xiuhe was stunned for a moment. "How did you know I like these?" Liao Shuang rubbed his hands embarrassedly. "I asked Aunt Zhang and practiced for a long time. I wanted to cook for you." What he said was the truth. Xin Xiuhe was at home for only a few days throughout the year. He never had the chance to show his skills in front of Xin Xiuhe. He read in a book, "To catch a man, you must first catch his stomach." He hoped that Xin Xiuhe would be attached to this home and come back often. Xin Xiuhe ate a lot and praised repeatedly, "Xiao Shuang, your cooking skills are very good. I haven't had a New Year's Eve dinner for a long time." Liao Shuang's watery eyes looked at Xin Xiuhe and said, "Then we'll spend every year together from now on. I'll cook your favorite dishes for you." Xin Xiuhe nodded. "Okay." For the first time, Xin Xiuhe felt that his home wasn't so cold and cheerless. It had the taste of home. After the New Year's Eve dinner, their relationship improved a lot, but Xin Xiuhe still rarely came home. Liao Shuang met several friends at school. One was Qin Minyu, the young master of the Qin family, and Lu Jingying, the young master of the Lu family. As soon as they entered the school gate, they saw Liao Shuang from afar and waved their hands, shouting, "Lord Shuang here?" Speaking of it, they became acquainted after a fight. Liao Shuang was a new transfer student in their class and was only 12 years old. Of course, because Liao Shuang's inherent cold and noble demeanor pricked them, giving a sense of superiority. But among the young masters in the Shanghai circle, they were basically familiar with everyone. They had never heard of the name Liao Shuang. This school of theirs was equivalent to a private noble school. Of course, not just anyone could enter. Qin Yuan and the others thought that this might just be an impudent upstart who loved to show off. So they always made things difficult for Liao Shuang. Originally, Liao Shuang didn't pay much attention to it, but they intensified their efforts. Until one day, just as he left the school gate, Liao Shuang was walking forward when a strong force from behind kicked his leg. His calf lost balance, and he half knelt on the ground. Liao Shuang's eyes instantly turned cold. Turning around, it was Qin Minyu and Lu Jingying. The two were looking at him playfully, not hiding the mockery in their eyes at all. "Oh, isn't this the prodigy Liao Shuang, giving us such a big courtesy before the new year?" Liao Shuang stood up and didn't want to deal with them. Lu Jingying put his hand on his shoulder and just as he was about to straighten him up, he felt a lightness below him. Liao Shuang gave him an over-the-shoulder throw dot. The pain made him gasp. Damn it, Liao Shuang, you're done. When I tell my dad, you can wait to be kicked out. Liao Shuang narrowed his eyes and was just about to speak when Lin Ke's voice sounded behind him. If I remember correctly, this is the young master of Mr. Lu Feng, right? It's you. Lu Zheng got up from the ground, covering his injured arm and asking with a grimace. Lin Ke was originally one of Shan Qiuhe's assistants and had attended many formal banquets with Shan Qiuhe. Among them were no shortage of gatherings of young masters from the Shanghai Circle. Where there was Shan Qiuhe, there would naturally be Lu Feng. Lu Feng, who became the business leader of the Shanghai Circle at a young age, held immense power and had a very good relationship with the Shin family. Chen Minyu naturally also recognized Lin Ke and said to Liao Shuang, "Are you from the Shin family?" Liao Shuang didn't answer. He didn't know whether he should admit it or not. Lin Ke gave him a firm answer. "This is our young master, Liao Shuang." Chen Minyu and Lu Zhengying were stunned on the spot. So the person they had bullied for a long time was actually the leading young master of the Shin family? But they had never heard that there was a third young master in the Shin family. There were only the twins Shin Qiuzhe and Shen Qiuhe. Moreover, they were only around 25 or 26 years old. How could they have such a big child? However, the fact that Lin Ke was respectful to Liao Shuang beside him was already proof of everything. Lin Ke said to Liao Shuang, "Young master, let's go home." Liao Shuang didn't even turn his head and walked straight towards the Shin family's cart, leaving Chen Minyu and Lu Zhengying looking at each other. From then on, Chen Minyu and Lu Zhengying never bullied Liao Shuang again, calling him Lord Shuang one after another. Later, the three often played together and had a new title, the Three Musketeers. Liao Shuang was the youngest but was the backbone because Chen Yuan and Lu Zheng had witnessed his ruthlessness and mercilessness. Coming back to his senses from the memory, Lu Zhengying waved his hand and whispered to Liao Shuang, "Lord Shuang, let's go to an exciting place after school today, okay?" Liao Shuang's expression was as calm as a cloud. "Where to?" Lu Zhengying said, "To a place that can make people ecstatic. There are countless beautiful women. Just thinking about it makes me drool." Chen Minyu slapped Lu Zhengying on the arm. It was summer, and they were wearing thin clothes. Chen Yuan didn't hold back, and there was a distinct red handprint on Lu Zheng's fair skin, looking particularly conspicuous. Lu Zhengying shouted, "Damn you, Chen Minyu." Chen Minyu stuck out his tongue. "Who told you to speak so obscenely?" Liao Shuang found them very amusing. It was just going to a nightclub or a bar. Liao Shuang knew much more than them. Shin Qiuzhe was someone who was often there. He had secretly investigated, and it was almost the same as he thought, equally chaotic. Speaking of it, he hadn't seen Shan Qiuhe for another year and didn't know what he was busy with. There was no phone call or news. He was a little curious. Would someone like Shan Qiuhe also be a frequent visitor to nightclubs? He shook his head with a smile. Definitely not. At least in his eyes, Shan Qiuhe was a person who kept himself clean. Definitely wouldn't go to those messy places.